Hi everyone, what's the story, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for the big reaction to the first video back last week. Went absolutely super. I'm glad so many of you have taken so much from it. Today we're going through something you've probably never went through before, but that I've been using for years to motivate myself. It's dark motivation, but it's the most powerful form of motivation. We're going to be going through in detail how to stay out of Gaelic football hell and how to make sure you reach your full potential. But to illustrate what we're avoiding here, I'm going to use a quick video from a super famous moment in Hollywood with Marlon Brando.
Short end money.
Well, I had some bets down for you. You saw some money.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it.
So in this super famous scene, he plays a washed up boxer, and it really resonates with people all over the world being washed up no matter what their sport is. They could have been a contender. They could have been somebody better. They could have done more with their potential. That is the story of people in GAA clubs all over Ireland. But it doesn't have to be your story. The most precious thing you have in your Gaelic football career is time. Time flies by very, very quickly, and no amount of success or money off the pitch is going to buy back the time you lose or the time you waste.
56 now, and yesterday I was 20. You know what I mean? Yeah. And today I'm 56. Time flies. Time flies. And I think one day, I think you will regret if you don't reach what you can reach. I'm not expecting you to be the man of the match every game. I'm not expecting you to score goals every game. I want just to tell you that I think you will regret. You should demand more from you. Not me demanding more from you. Not me, nobody, you. I think you should demand more from you.
No, I understand.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
See you later.
If you're interested in reaching your full potential as a Gaelic footballer, you have to treat time as very, very precious and use every moment you possibly can in your very short career to develop yourself, your character, your skills, your physique as much as possible. And remember, success and failure in Gaelic football. Success isn't necessarily winning a county title or an All-Ireland title, okay? You can win those things and not be successful in life and have quite a miserable life. And some players who've had very successful careers have not been successful off the pitch. Very high profile example or extreme example might be DJ Kerry. And then failure, if you fail on the pitch like I did as a player and you don't reach your full potential, but you still get so many valuable lessons from playing or being involved in sport that really build your character for the rest of your life. That's ultimately the goal. So success is self-development, it's life skills, it's friendship, it's character building, things like discipline and determination and being a trustworthy, reliable person. And failure, in my opinion, this is my opinion now, that I took this from Jordan Peterson, one of his rules for life is don't allow yourself to become arrogant, resentful or bitter or a critic. Something I like to think of here was when I was in university, I was studying Samuel L. Beckett, of all people, and we were doing his famous play Waiting for Godot. But the two protagonists in the play are arguing back and forth with each other. It's a very short play, a short book. And the lecturer I had at the time went through the scene where they're arguing. So they're arguing back and forth, and then at the end of the argument, when they're screaming at each other or shouting at each other for the last time, the worst insult that one could call the other is a critic. It really stuck with me. It really stuck with me. I would hate to be a critic. Beckett was a smart man, obviously, and he knew that being called a critic is probably the worst thing you can be called. But there's critics in every GAA club in Ireland. Also, to help you understand darker motivation, the study on rat. It's been done and replicated many times where the rat is the most motivated. So they put him in a pipe, and when they put cat's urine behind him, he's extremely motivated. And when they put cheese in front of him, he's very motivated. but he was far more motivated in terms of running away from something painful or something that he's afraid of, rather than running towards something he's motivated for. This is how humans work as well. We never count the cost of not going after our full potential until it's often too late. But we'll often count the cost of, oh my God, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to wake up early. I don't want to eat healthy. And you will feel like that's a big deal. But we let something that's terrible creep up behind us without ever counting the cost of not reaching for our full potential. So to be fully motivated, and I've used this in my own life many times to do uncomfortable things, I always make sure, okay, this is what I want, and this is the cost of not getting it. This is the cost. I'm going to have to live with that shame, that guilt, that's probably going to turn me arrogant and bitter if I don't go and try and achieve the best for myself. And the best might not be success on the pitch, but it'll be the lessons you learn along the way. In Gaelic football, I'm in Gaelic football for a long time now, and I can tell you there's two slippery slopes for footballers. The first is age 23 to 25, and the second is 30 to 35. So 23 to 25 is when guys finish university. And when they finish university, they either spend the next 5 years pretending that they're still in university, and by the time they get to 30, they're cracked full injuries, they look about 40, they're overweight, and they've wasted their potential. So on the other side of things, you could turn 23 to 25, finish university, and spend the next 5 years obsessed with Gaelic football, brilliant, but you could quit football and get obsessed with bodybuilding, with high roxes, with running marathons, with something healthy, with hiking, whatever it might be for you, with jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, but at least you're obsessed with something healthy, instead of pretending you're in university and still going on the beer twice a week and just ruining your potential and your health as a person. The second slippery slope or downward spiral with Gaelic footballers is 30 to 35. When they get to that age, they can have been super fit, super disciplined their whole life, played an excellent club career or inter-county career, and they finish playing and they have this massive vacuum in their life. And instead of filling it with something positive, they can often gain 10, 15, 20 kg. A lot of the guys I've dealt with in the personal training, they finish football, were always fit, finish playing and gain a power weight and just get caught drinking too much, eating too much, energy levels going through the floor, lower back pain. So the main point of today's video is to get clear on the upward spiral and the downward spiral and help you on the trajectory of the upward spiral. And it's not very complicated, but it is hard work. And it's better to be aware of these things rather than just pretending they don't exist. So I've described Gaelic footballers' heaven and hell in detail here. So the first one is that Gaelic football makes you fit, strong and healthy. That is an enormous life bonus that you get from playing the game. The opposite of that is it makes you overweight, injured and drained or tired or low energy. So if you don't take care of yourself, you're overweight, you're injured, lower back pain, knee pain, things like this as you're getting older, and you're low energy. And that's going to affect all your relationships, your friendships, your relationships with your kids and your family, your girlfriend or your wife. If you're injured, overweight, low energy, it's going to affect so many of the opportunities in your life as opposed to staying fit, strong and healthy. So that's what you should be learning from the game and using the opportunities you have while playing the game to get those life skills in place. The second part of Gaelic football heaven would be the connections, friendships and opportunities you make. I honestly can't believe how many friends, opportunities and connections I've made from being involved in Gaelic football. It's been absolutely insane. The only thing that's even came close to it is social media. By posting on social media, I've got a ton of those things as well. But Gaelic football is just incredible. And just think about how many guys meet their girlfriends through Gaelic football, through another player on the team, or the girl knows him because he's kind of famous in the county circles or club circles or whatever. Or they might get a job through Gaelic football, another very common thing. Or any type of opportunity that you see with the top players online. They might get a free car, they might get sponsorships. So many opportunities can come from being involved in the game. And even if you're not a high profile name like David Clifford or Aidan O'Shea, you can get tons of opportunities and connections through playing the game and having a good character, being around a team of 30 players, a panel or a club of 100, 200 people. That's going to shape your life in so many ways. The opposite of that is misery loves company and an echo chamber. So I have two videos here that I'm going to play that are going to illustrate what misery or negativity or bitterness looks like. And you'll have come across it. You'll have come across it many times.
Did you think you could beat her?
I know I can beat her.
You know you can beat her. Very confident.
I'm very confident.
You say it so easily. Why?
Because I believe it.
Cut right here, if you don't mind. And let me tell you what. What she she said it with so much confidence the first time. But if you keep going on and on,
Listen, we can't keep interrupting. I mean, if you want...
you got to understand that you're dealing with an image of a 14-year-old child. And this child gonna be out there playing when your old ass and me gonna be in the grave. When she says something, we done told you what's happening. You're dealing with a little black kid, and let her be a kid. She done answered it with a lot of confidence. Leave that alone.
Successful week here in Milwaukee.
Two things. I think if I play 4 solid rounds, we'll go off to a good start today. If I can do that for 3 more days, I'll be very happy, and a victory would be awfully nice too.
A victory.
Mm.
Do you think, to me, that comes off as a little cocky or brash, especially talking to the other guys on tour that have been out here for years and years and years, and certainly an incredible amateur record. But what do you say to those guys?
Well,
when you come out here, you know what I'm saying, your
I
first
understand.
pro tournament, and you say, I can win.
Oh, I understand that. I've always figured that why go to a tournament if you're not going there to try and win? There's really no point in even going. That's the attitude I've had my entire life, and that's the attitude I will always have. As I would explain to my dad, second sucks, and third's even worse. That's just a feeling
But
I
on
have.
tour, that's not too bad sometimes, though.
That's not too bad, but I want to win. That's just my nature.
You'll learn.
I had to laugh last year at the whole Rory McIlroy situation in the golf because he got some terrible abuse while he was playing the Ryder Cup. But at the same time, I talked with a few clients that year, and literally I said, I have heard worse at under 16 games. And they were telling me stories about how they got like horrible verbal abuse, even parents and mentors coming onto the pitch roaring at them, things like this. Gaelic football, hurling probably the same. You meet some very negative, bitter people. Now, it's not exclusive to Gaelic football. I'm sure it's the same in soccer, rugby, American football, hockey, ice hockey, but sport will bring out the very best people and the very worst people you're probably ever going to meet. That's why it's such a good life lesson, learning how to deal with them. But misery loves company is the opposite of connections, friendships, and opportunities. And an echo chamber, just getting stuck talking to miserable people all the time, conspiracy theory people, everything is against them. The county boards, this manager that, this coach that, it's always a sob story, it's always a hard luck story, and it just drains the life out of you. So Heaven and Hell part 3, the final part, is that sport helps you become calm, honest, and hardworking. Now, if you're like me, you're still working on the calm part. It's definitely made me calmer, it's made me better at managing my emotions. That and running a business, Gaelic football management and running a business, they made me a lot more calm and controlled, because you can't just lose your temper. So calm, honest, hard working. If you use the game properly and you're in a proper environment, a good environment, not a toxic environment, those attributes are going to be rewarded by the coaches, the managers, the people at the club. They're going to want calm, cool-headed, honest, hard-working players, and they're going to have them on the team, and they're going to be emphasizing people with that type of character, as opposed to hell, where I was in environments like this before, team environments where you just have lazy, addicted, stressed people. So not looking down on anyone who's battling addictions, but if you are in a panel that's very, very toxic, usually there'll be this heavy fucking energy. Unfortunately, a lot of you will have experienced that or will experience it now, where there's a group in the panel and they're just dragging everyone else down.
An absence of ego. I think ego infects a group completely. It's deadly dangerous. I think an absence of ego, where everybody realizes we're in this thing together, but there's none of us geniuses.
They're just drinking too much, they're gambling all the time, they're saying horrible things about everyone behind each other's back, even their best friends, and you just end up with this terrible situation. So you have a choice between the two of them. We're all going to battle with both of them, all of us who've played the game. But at the end of the day, when your career is over and during the best days of your career, you'll either be in heaven or hell, and it can flip from year to year, especially with the panels and the fact that it's not a solo sport. But you want to be aiming for heaven and you want to be running away from this as much as possible. And not being unaware or unconscious, not conscious that if I'm not focusing really hard on these things, that I'm going to fall into these things. So to finish part 3 of the video, the top 3 mistakes Gaelic footballers make that ruins their potential. So you'll remember last week I mentioned that the #1 job of a Gaelic footballer is to be on the pitch for 99 out of 100 sessions. So these are the things that are going to affect that the most. Now the first thing is addictions. These are often a silent problem, even though there is a lot more talk, a lot more players writing books about it, things like that in the GA in the last few years. It's not just the GA, it's all sports. Diego Maradona and Ronaldinho were partying like crazy. George Best were partying like crazy while being some of the best soccer players in the world. I've never watched a UFC fight in my life, but what I did love was Coach Kavanagh and Conor McGregor's rise to fame. I loved watching the videos, the interviews, and I never stayed up late to watch a UFC fight, but if you look at the crash and the come down afterwards, it's very sad. It's a tragic fall from grace. So addictions are a huge part of that. And in every Gaelic football dressing room, you're going to have a silent problem with alcohol, weed, cocaine, and cheap dopamine online. So cheap dopamine is addiction to social media sites and porn. With the social media, it can be your best friend. It's been absolutely incredible for me and my career. I've learned so much and I've met so many great people through social media. But doom scrolling is a terrible bad habit, and it's something you want to be consciously avoiding if you want high energy levels. The other addictions, I'm not an addiction expert. With the other addictions, I have a bit of a fascination with it because it's so linked to my job. And when I was coaching football teams, a huge problem I ran into all the time was how come I couldn't get people to change their habits. And if you start going down the rabbit hole of habits, you will ultimately end up at addiction. James Clear actually talks about this, the author of Atomic Habits, in his podcast with Tim Ferriss, that if you actually keep talking about habits too deep, you're going to get into addictions. And he says, I'm not an addiction expert. I'm not an addiction expert either, and I don't pretend to be one on the internet, but there's 3 excellent books here. One is The Body Keeps the Score. The second one is Gabor Mate in the Realm of Hungry Ghosts. And then there's How to Do the Work, Nicole LePera. These are extremely famous. They're not going to make up for getting professional help, but they could put you on the right road to being more aware about the problem that you have, or that someone on your team has, your brother has, your friends have. It could put you on the right road to being more aware of how that thing works, and then look for help. These days there is plenty of opportunities to get help if you are struggling with that kind of thing. But nothing is going to drain your energy or your potential from you quite like battling something like this while you're playing. And even some of the very best, like Oisin McConville, were dealing with these problems while they were at their peak. The second of the top 3 mistakes is negativity. So I won't go into this too much because we talked about this last week, but having negative influences around you. We said last week you could be very unlucky. It could be a girlfriend, a family member, a parent, teammates. You could be very unlucky and it's very close to you. Or else you're in a very good environment, you're very lucky, you have great people around you. I always had a great family around me. So that all makes a huge difference in blocking out that negativity. But you're never going to shield yourself from it 100%. How you manage that, and when I went into team panels as a player, I was very naive. I thought everyone wanted everyone else to do well. I thought everyone wanted everyone else to win and progress, but jealousy and negativity and bitterness, it just eats up so many panels, and it's the reason why so many teams stay stuck or why they go backwards. So be very, very careful, and also be aware of negative media. So I'm talking here about RTE, BBC, all those type of things that are designed to trigger you. Be very aware of that. A negative mindset comes from the outside. You're not born negative, you let negativity in. So if you can shield yourself from that mentally, you're going to have a far better opportunity to achieve your full potential. And then finally, health. A lot of Gaelic footballers, unfortunately, they get stuck in this mode where instead of training because they love being healthy and fit, and that helps them play Gaelic football, they do it the other way around. They hate training and they hate eating well, but they'll eat well and they'll train because they have to play Gaelic football, or because they want to play Gaelic football. That's not the best way to be. You should love eating healthy because of how it makes you feel in your body. You should love stretching and lifting weights because how it makes you feel. And then you go out and you play football and it's an absolute pleasure. But you want to take health skills from your Gaelic football career that are going to be super important for your life in your 20s and far beyond it. So you need to take skills on nutrition that you learned for match day and for training days. You need to take the skills you learn for your cardiovascular health long term, your flexibility. Do you want to be one of those people who's suffering very badly with back pain, with knee pain, with hip pain all through their 40s, 50s, 60s? You know, everyone runs into some kind of health problems, but if you manage your body better and you can learn how to do that while you're playing the game, it can stand to you for life. And also learning about discipline. Like, discipline is crucial for your mental health. Learning how to delay gratification is super, super important for your mental health long term. So you can take that from your time playing sport, how to push nights out off for a few months, how to make sure that you're disciplined with your time management. All those things come from mental and physical health, come from playing the game. Make sure you're learning them. The opposite and not learning them or not being aware of them or conscious enough of them is you're moving towards Gaelic football or hell, unfortunately. So to finish with today's video, I really hope I scared the fuck out of you in a few ways.
A real good teammate puts demands on each other, whether that's out in the pitch or in the dressing room or on the training ground during the week. The best players I played with put demands on me, and they wouldn't tolerate me cutting corners. And as you become a player and you play 50, 100, 200 games, so then you put them demands on other people. That's what really good teammates do. They don't let you away with it.
I really hope I hit it hard and I made you think very deeply that if you don't go after what you want in life, in football, 100%, you will live with regret. There's no easy way out. You know, it's hard to chase after your goals, to chase after your potential. And it's very, very hard if you don't chase after your goals and you just fall into bad habits, bad health and negativity. So my message to you is you get to choose which road or which spiral you go on. Do you go on an upward spiral or a downward spiral?
You don't find out who the best teammates are when champagne is dripping off your ceiling. You find out who the best teammates are when the times are tough, and you are the best teammate I've ever had.
And a lot of the time with the upward spiral, you might not see the benefits for years. I fucking know from going to the gym and lifting weights and business and sport, I didn't see benefits for so long after I began them. But when they came, they just came like compound interest. It felt like nothing was happening for years and then everything came at once. All these opportunities and opportunities to do things I've always wanted. But it took an awful lot of discipline and hard work to get to where I eventually ended up. When it comes to avoiding hell, you should be so motivated. That's what you're staring down the barrel of, unfortunately. A life of, misery and regret if you don't go after your goals. So if you've been enjoying this video and the last one, don't forget to subscribe. It makes a huge difference to my content here and the algorithm on YouTube, and I'll be coming with YouTube videos to you about these topics every single week. Thanks for watching. Let's go.